Well, hello there, YouTube. Mr. Gibson Guy here. Thanks for stopping by my channel today. Today I'm kind of winging it here. It's happened. Something happened a couple days ago, and I wanted to put a video out about it. If you are real familiar with my channel, you may have caught on to, I did a video a couple of years ago called My House is Haunted, and about strange things that have gone on in this house the last few years as I've lived here. I moved here 4 years ago, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and when I retired. And it's Beverly Hills here is mostly a neighborhood of older folks. We have a few kids that live in some of the houses here, but mostly it's people with grandchildren or without grandchildren or whatever. But the average age is kind of old here, and I don't know, maybe I'm kind of young here. I'm only 72, so but I'm not one of the older ones. But if that has anything to do with the proximity of spirits, I don't know. Perhaps it does, but I've never noticed things happen in my homes before like happened here. It started out when I first moved in that there was a lot of weird noises in the house. The house was kind of creaky, and you can hear things crack and pop, and it sounds like people talking outside, people talking out in the main house, in the living room or the kitchen, and you can hear them back in the bedrooms, and you know there's nobody there. And it sounds like water being turned on and being turned off, but there's nobody out there, and you know, you hear these things. I haven't had like lights go on and off or anything like that yet, but at first I didn't pay too much attention, and then it kind of started bothering me, and I tried sleeping on the couch out in the living room. I'd go out there late at night and in the dark, and I'd just lay there and try to go to sleep, and I'd get awakened. Somebody would make some noise, or somebody would, I don't know, just bother me when I was out there. It's like, he doesn't belong out here. He can come out during the daytime, but at night it's like ours. And I kind of felt like I was being treated that way. And so I would go back in my bedroom, and a few times I started seeing some people that were cruising around back in my bedroom, and that kind of bugged me. I could see them when I left the closet, the sliding closet door open, and I could see them kind of looking at me behind my clothes, and then I'd get up and I'd close it. You know, it sounds like weird stuff, but it's little by little you start becoming aware of what's going on, and I'd go back out on the couch, and they'd start like having a whole party going on there, and they're dancing to music that I can't hear, and little animals dancing around, cats, kittens, little puppies, all kinds of stuff. Cat at the window looking in, wanting to join the party, and there's weird things that happened. And so I started to figure it out. You'd see strange people that just appear, and then of course you turn the lights on and they go away real fast. And I wanted to do some picture taking, and I would do photography, but I would use my video camera like that, or the Nikon D5200, which is a digital camera, or one of my little point and shoot cameras, this Canon here. But the thing about electronic cameras is they all shoot light out, and they all, you know, you press the button to take a picture, and it says not ready, not ready, not ready, and then it fires up the flash, and that goes, kind of gives a pre-flash, and that scares anything away. So I found it really impossible, even trying it with my phone. You can't keep it dark to do that. And so I was going to put some pictures of some of these spirits that were around up on my YouTube channel, but I couldn't get any pictures, and they just seemed they weren't going to get collected electronically on some sensor. They just weren't going to allow that to happen. No picture taking with digital cameras. And so I kind of gave up on that idea. And what happened is we kind of had a peaceful agreement here. They pretty much stay out of my room, and they can stay in the living room or in the kitchen when they want to, and I can be in the hallway as long as I don't bother them out in the living room. And they're okay with that, and I'm okay with that. And I gotta tell you some of the things that happen in communication or non-communication. As we kind of got our boundaries set, then I started to assess things. Like I could see a couple of young people that just, they're in my room late at night, and they're looking at each other and they're talking to each other, but they don't make any noise, but they can understand each other. It's like they give the appearance of talking, but it's some sort of more mental telepathy sort of thing. And a lot of times the spirits don't communicate with me. Sometimes they don't. They just act like I'm not really there. And so, I'm wondering who's really the spirit and who's real. Am I real or are they real? Because this isn't supposed to be this way, but it is. And I have talked to them. Sometimes I'll see an adult man, and I'll say, "Can you talk?" And he'll say, "I can't talk with him." And I say, "Can you understand me?" Yeah. But he might mouth the words, but he can't speak so that I can hear him. And I've had that happen a number of times. What I was getting at, I kind of interrupted myself, but when we figured out our boundaries, they took over the living room. And being an old man in my 70s and having an enlarged prostate that comes with age, I had to get up a lot at night, and 2, 3, 4 times, maybe sometimes in a bad night. I'm learning how to control it now, and the spirits are helping me figure that out, how to do it. But I've gotten now where I get up once, or maybe twice occasionally, but one time, and a few times I've slept like 6.5, 7 hours through before I wake up again. And then by then it starts to get light. But what we have figured out going through all this, because I'm opening my door and going out in the hallway and going into my bathroom and coming back in, is when I do that, I'm going down the hallway and I'm looking right out into the living room, and that's where they all are. There's the couch, and on the back of the couch, Donna has a shawl or something, a Afghan sort of a thing, and one of the spirits lays up on the top of the couch all the time. I can see them, and they kind of hide under the shawl when I come out. But then the really funny thing is when I go back into my room, I turn around backwards and I pull the door shut, and I can see the spirit that's on the back of the couch. And as soon as I open the door to go out, they pulls it up over him, or she pulls it up over her, or whatever they're doing there, hides under it. And then as soon as they think that I have the door closed, but it's not closed all the way, they throw it down and they say, ha 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 ha. They figure I'm out of view, and I see it just as the door closes. And so that's a funny one. And Donna's recliner is out there, and that's their favorite thing. I think they kind of argue over who gets the recliner, and one of them gets to sit on that, and they can sit back and be comfortable and really enjoy it. And then the weird thing is that over towards the kitchen, where the wall is that separates the kitchen from the living room, we have some of Donna's artwork in boxes there, and she has her Rickenbacker bass up on a stand, and I have some boxes of musical wires and stuff like that, cables, and somebody sits on that thing in that area. That's another popular place for them. And sometimes there's several of them on the couch, or a couple of them sitting on the chair. But those are their usual places. And I've come to recognize from when I go out often in the same night that sometimes it's the same person. Usually it's not. Usually it's different people. But sometimes they'll be like 4 or 5 nights in a row they'll be out there. And I've come to recognize it's kind of like an airport or a train station where there's just a waiting area and the people are all kind of milling around there. And that seems to be what the living room is. They move around, but they don't go anywhere. They're on this place or this place or this place, and they can move there, but they don't get up and walk around. Occasionally they do, but usually they don't. Usually they're just seated. A lot of times they're sleeping. They just come in, and the schedule, they always come in after midnight, kind of like gremlins, you know. And I've never seen them like early in the evening. I go out there at 10, 11, 11:30 even, I don't see them. But after midnight, and there's this thing that happens, which is kind of like when their time comes, when they're supposed to be there. And that is, here in Beverly Hills, we don't have street lights. And so as a result, it's pretty dark out here. It's a neighborhood, and it's, you know, rows of houses and rows of houses and rows of houses, and there's a lot of people living here. But the houses are kind of good separation. The houses are not real big, and the lots are pretty good sized. So everybody's not right on top of each other like down in South Florida. The houses are right, you can't go in between them because they're so close. But here, there's no street lights, but a lot of people have like a front porch light or a front yard light. And when I'm going to bed, like 10:30, 11, 11:30, something like that, usually I'll go out there and there's nobody there, and it's pitch dark. It's really, really dark. But when I wake up 2 or 3 or 4 hours later and I have to go to the bathroom, I'll come out and it's dark in my room, although I have a little bit of light coming in because I keep the blinds open a little bit just to let some of the light in. But when it's after midnight and it's really late, I go out in the hallway. It's like the living room is lit up. The lights aren't turned on, but you can plainly see everything. It's not daylight bright, it's like nighttime bright, but there's a lot of window, a lot of light coming in the front windows from front yard and porch lights, and that house and that house and this house and that house and another one down there. There just seems to be a lot of light coming towards here, and it lights up the whole living room. So when I've been in bed and been asleep and I wake up and I've been in the darkness for 3 or 4 hours, and I come out there and the living room just seems like it's bright lights there. And I've been doing this now for a couple of years, and I've kind of gotten the whole thing figured out. What happens with it is all this light starts coming in for some reason after midnight. And then in the morning, when I first get light out, I can see like the windows lighting up in my room. This one right here. When I get that light coming in, that's when I know it's time for them to clear out, time for them to go for the morning. But a few times I've gotten up to go to the bathroom in the morning, and it'll be like 6:30 or something like that, and I'm starting to get light in the sky and things, and I'll go out, and sometimes some of them are still there. And I remind them, I said, it's getting light, you know, you can't be out here now. And sometimes they just will disappear, or other times I'll go into the bathroom and I come out and they're gone. Well, 2 mornings ago, I woke up and it was like 6:30 or 6:40, something like that, and the sky had started to really lighten up, and it was in my room, even with the blinds. It was starting to get bright, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I looked, and there was this one old lady, and she was sitting not on the seat of the recliner, but on the armrest. She was very short, and she was sitting on the armrest. She had like kind of like a beehive hairdo thing going on with her. She had like whitish blonde hair, and struck me as being familiar. I've never seen anybody that I recognize. But this old gal was just sitting there, and I kind of recognized the look on her face. And she's like, she's not, I don't know her, but I recognize her. She looks familiar to me. And so I went into the bathroom and I came out, and she was gone. But I stopped and I looked for a long time, and I just tried to remember what I saw, and I realized she was my grandmother, who died, I guess, 40 or 50 years ago, and whom I was not close to at all. But I didn't care for her, and I tried to avoid her like the plague. And I have first thing that hits me is, why would she be visiting me? But you know, she really loved my little brother, and I could see her going to check on him, but she didn't have anything to do with me, and I had nothing to do with her. What is she doing here in my house? So I don't know what has happened, but it did leave me with, somehow I thought, I got to rethink this thing with the camera. And then it came to me that I can use a film camera, and I can use the tripod that my video camera's on right now, and I have several Olympus cameras. And the good thing about these Olympus cameras, this is the OM-2s. I'm going to load it up with film this afternoon and set it up tonight. And these cameras have a couple of really important features on them. One is that it has an on-off switch, but even when the camera is off, it doesn't autofocus, it's a manual focus camera, but sets the exposure, and when you press the shutter button, whether the camera's on or off, the camera instantly turns on and makes an exposure. And the other really good thing about this, so I don't have to leave the camera on with the battery on all night like I'd have to with a lot of other cameras, because this one does it. And the other thing about these Olympus cameras is that these have off the film plane metering, which and they have a very, very sensitive light meter. This is the OM-2s. I believe it goes for up to a 2-minute timed exposure. And in the light of the living room with an ASA 400 film, I should figure the correct exposure should be 1 to 2 seconds. But I tried this out in Donna's walk-in closet this morning, where I closed the door all the way and I pressed it, and the shutter opened, and it just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there and stayed there for about 30 seconds, and I was getting bored because there was no light, so it's just gathering light carefully, and I turned it towards the edge of the door where there was just a slit open, and it shuts the shutter off right then because it picked up that light. But this is a real sensitive camera that I can leave out without having it switched on, and I have this cable release on it. On the thing, it'll be right next to the end of the hallway, looking into the whole living room, and I put a 24mm lens on it, so it's wide angle. It'll go from there over to there when it's turned this way, and all I have to do is press that little button there, and it will take the shot. It'll be fine because it'll be on the tripod, so it'll be steady. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually get an image of any of these spirits here, but I'll give it a try. I'll get one go at it each night. So I'm going to put a roll of 36 exposure of 400 Fuji color here, and each night I'll be taking a picture. So it'll probably take me about a month of doing this. I'm starting a little bit before May. So by June, I might have finished the roll, and I'm just going to use this camera just to do this project. Each night I'll come out and take a picture, and if I wake up twice, I'll come out twice and take a picture. But I'm going to see. I understand some people say that you may not be able to pick up a spirit, but you may get some trails or some notices of motion or something in your photograph, something that is not there that you could see, but that the film does see. And you're not going to know that I'm taking a picture until I hit the shutter, and then it's already started. So that's all I have to say about this. I know people think this is a little bit crazy, and I'm going to hope that I can get some sort of evidence to show this up. This has become a regular thing pretty much every night, and I'm on pretty good terms with the spirits that are doing this, and you know, we're respecting each other's spaces, and so we'll see how it goes from there. But if you have some experiences like these and you want to tell us about it, please post something down below. Glad to hear from you. Any comments, I'll be glad to answer you on. And that's it for this one. This is kind of a weird one, but hopefully you found it interesting. And hopefully I'll eventually get some pictures to show you that you can say, wow, you did get something there. All right, so thanks for tuning in. Until the next time, I'm Mr. Gibson Guy, and I'm out of here.